Welcome, welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday from wherever you're calling in from. It's an honor to be with you here today with the IACBE team calling in from all over the U.S., I believe. I know Vanessa's in Denver. Andrea, where are you calling in from?
I'm in Virginia Beach.
Cool. I used to live in the DMV area for some time. I'm actually calling in from Tucson, Arizona. Definitely different than the New York area where I grew up, but I always like to say we traded all of our friends for cactus, and it's a little bit of a different lifestyle. Well, I know folks are just getting settled. Feel free to use the chat to say hello. Drop your name and the school and where you're calling in from if you're interested. Otherwise, sit back and enjoy the dialogue today. We have some great speakers. We also have a special guest where we're going to be introducing the official partner for the case competition that will be featured as the case. So really exciting time for the competition as we get all the ducks in a row and plan for ACAM. I know a lot of IACBE schools, administrators, leaders always look forward to the IACBE conference. This year in Memphis, actually my first IACBE conference ever was in Memphis. So excited to go back and feel all the great vibes of the city of blues, the city of music. So, well, without further ado, I'm going to get started here. The intention for today's session is to share information about the upcoming case competition, which is part of the overall IACBE ACAM offering to schools both in the IACBE network and outside the IACBE network. We really are using this as an opportunity to share best practices when it comes to career education and professional development for students, and we really look forward to incorporating your students, your school, your ideas into a real-world business challenge. So I just wanted to give a quick highlight to the schedule. Of course, it's probably not going to take the full hour, but if it does, feel free to sit with us the whole time or watch the recording afterwards. As a reminder, this is being recorded so that we can distribute it afterwards to the group. In the beginning, we're going to start with Vanessa. She's going to do an introduction on IACBE and the competition. After that, we're going to touch a little bit on what is experiential learning and experiential hiring, especially within the vein of industry-integrated experiential learning, because I think it's a big philosophy behind how we design this competition each year. Well, then we're going to announce the industry partner, so we're really excited to feature them and learn more about them. Afterwards, because we do not have the project finalized and we do not share project details until the project is officially announced, other than maybe a title and the January-February timeline, we'll go through some examples of previous projects that we've organized with other competitions in the past. After that, time for Q&A. If that ends early, then we'll just go through registration and next steps at that point. So without further ado, I'm honored here to be co-hosting this with Vanessa. She's been doing an incredible job as a main chief of staff, conference organizer, many hat wearer at IACBE, and has been an awesome confidant for us to continue to improve this competition for the general network of both CapSource and IACBE that participate. So Vanessa, it's good to be with you here today. Thank you so much for helping us lead the charge on getting this competition finalized and ready to go.
Yep, thanks so much for having us, Jordan. We love the student case competition, and we do have two other members of our team here. So I'm Vanessa St. Laurent, chief of staff. I would say high level, we have accreditation, we have everything else. I'm the everything else sort of person for our organization. And since we do have Andrea and Lori here right now, do you guys just want to say hello quickly and give your title before we move along?
Go ahead, Lori.
Betty, I'm Lori Yates. I'm coming to you from Oregon, where there are no cactus, just lots of rain, and I am an accreditation specialist and have been with IACB for years and years, either as a volunteer or as a staff member, and this is one of my favorite parts of our world here. So thank you.
I'm Andrea Cummings. I'm Operations and Compliance Coordinator. Like Vanessa said, we do accreditation and everything else. I do a lot of everything else and a little tiny bit of accreditation and compliance, or compliance rather. I've been here for just 8 months, so I'm still the newbie, and I'm very excited to be here planning ACAM kind of from start to finish alongside Vanessa, because I came in just about a month and a half, 2 months before ACAM last year.
Wonderful. Thanks, Andrea. And yes, every member of our team will be at ACAM. So you will see all of us when you're there. We are present. We're there for everything. And we just love this part of the whole event. So a little bit just about us, in case you don't know. We're the IACBE. We promote and recognize excellence in business education through specialized accreditation of business programs. And we really like to focus on what students can do when they graduate, right? What are the student learning outcomes? And we also focus on continuous learning and improvement throughout our processes, which is why the case competition is perfect for our event. The students bring so much positive energy to the event. And at the end of the day, it's why we're all there. It's why we do what we do, right? It's for the students. And then I'm not going to bore you with a ton of accreditation information, but I just have a few things to add before we get to the competition, which are really, we base our process around characteristics of excellence in business education, and those serve as the basis for our principles. And really, a lot of them, it's like they align so perfectly with the case competition, right? We want students to be developed personally and professionally into competent business professionals. How do you do that, right? How do you encourage innovation and creativity beyond the classroom? How do you have those linkages between the classroom and the business community? How do you keep the programs relevant? And how do you encourage external cooperative relationships, right? All of that is incorporated into the case competition. And Jordan, if you want to go to the next slide, it would be helpful, so I can just... and you can populate all the companies from the past, but we've been working with Jordan for the past 7 years. Lots of diversity in the companies that we work with. We try to always find something local to the area where ACAM is being held. As you've probably heard, next year it's in Memphis, Tennessee, and we'll get to that announcement later. But what it comes down to is it's an incredibly valuable real-world experience for the students, right? It's realistic. There's a competition, there is a winner, but at the end of the day, I would say everyone is a winner in the sense that you learn from a process, right? If you win, great, but if you didn't, what can you do better? You have a chance to debrief and talk about how you could have improved. There isn't a one right answer, right? And it's not, can you read this and spit it back, right? It's a real world problem that the company has. You're trying to help them. And, it's not just even the answer at the end, right? Did you do your research and homework throughout? Did you ask them relevant questions? Did you manage the communications? And I think the example I like to use is, when you're out there in the real world and you've got an RFP, one company gets picked, but all the companies that don't, right, they do win-loss analysis, and they figure out how could they have done better? How can they win that business next time? So I know, speaking personally, I wish I had done a case competition when I was in college. It's just so much more close to what you'll be doing when you get out of school sometimes than even the stuff that you learn just directly in the classroom. Also, the deadline is real, right? Ready or not, when ACAM comes, you're presenting your ideas to the leaders. There are no extensions, the system closes out and you don't get extra time. So how do you fit in your preparation for the case competition with the rest of your life? That's a real world challenge. When you graduate, you're going to have other priorities in your life, family time, rest time, but how do you get it done, right? All of that is very important. And then in addition, students, your presentation skills, you are presenting, you're up in front of the audience. How do you tell the story? That's part of it, right? It's not just the answer, it's how you present your answer. And I'd say another kind of core value is resourcefulness, right? What is your personal drive to get this work done? Nothing is spoon-fed to you. It's not like, oh, is this going to be on the test, right? You have to go out. If you don't know something, you have to do the research. Find a source. Maybe it's AI, maybe it's a professor, another professor, or a friend, but it's not like, oh, here's the answer and we're going to coach you along the way. You really have to go after it and get it yourself, which is how the world works. And the last thing I'd like to add is experience for your resume, right? It's great when you're interviewing if you can tell this story. What did you do? What was the real life example, right? It's not just theoretical. So for all those reasons, right? Real organization, the teams are competing, and you present at the end. It's just very realistic to life after school. Jordan, what else would you like to add?
Thank you so much, Vanessa. That was really wonderful in terms of how to tie the competition to professional development for students and also the core values of IACBE. So I think you've done a wonderful job of explaining kind of what makes this competition unique. This is what CapSource focuses on. This is what we want to see institutions do and offer, not necessarily for a small pocket of students, but every student, every semester. That is the big vision. That is what we're trying to accomplish. And so the only way to do that is build partnerships, and you need good technology. And that's really where we come in. So ultimately, I always like to talk about what is the kind of methodology here. At the end of the day, experiential learning is kind of the Kolb cycle, right? We've all seen that, but experiential learning can really be a whole spectrum of things. Case-based learning, it could be research projects, independent or collaborative with faculty. There's really an unlimited amount of ways that you can gain experiential learning in an academic setting. What we focus on is industry-integrated experiential learning. So how can we get industry leaders and their organizations involved in the education process? Case competitions are a great way to do that. So we talked a little bit through Vanessa's share that there's a lot of soft and technical skills that students need to use in order to be successful in this competition. Of course, success is not only measured by being able to win, but also being able to show up and deliver insights to a real leadership team. That is, quite frankly, what students are going to be expected to do if they're going to be working in an organization after they graduate. So why not give them practice now? So the 8 purple boxes here that we're looking at are really the key skills that students use and develop while engaged in industry integrated learning. These are the NACE 8 career competencies, plain and simple. So we believe that NACE did a really good job in terms of analyzing a comprehensive set of skills that students need. Students use universal transferable skills to develop real insights for real stakeholders who provide real feedback along the way. That's the cycle of experiential learning when industry is involved. The key outcome and the thing that makes industry integrated experiential learning more powerful than any other form of experiential learning, especially for students that are in academic disciplines where they're pursuing professional careers afterwards, is the reflection, the sharing, and the showcasing of the reference-worthy experience. So reference-worthy experience comes down to being able to attribute your experience to real organizations, their real challenges, the relevant topics that they're dealing with in today's day and age, and then the real outcomes. They're developing organizational knowledge, they're developing their network. All of these things are all outcomes just from being able to provide students with opportunities to work on something that, again, has no correct answer and revolves around ensuring that students are ready to discuss with real leaders what the insights that they've come up with. One thing I always like to share and showcase is how experiential learning and experiential hiring really feed into each other, right? So as academic institutions change the way that they approach learning and educating students, organizations are changing the way that they approach it. There's only 1 million internships available for 21 million undergrad and grad students, and there's really about 80 million students that are in the striking age of undergrad and grad programs for the most part. So there's really a massive deficit of this. And so what we think is really important is to start changing the behavior of how organizations, both academic and industry, collaborate with each other in order to, serve the best interest of the students, train them, ensure that they're, matching with the types of roles and the types of organizations that they believe in, rather than kind of the crapshoot philosophy that has been kind of the run of show for the last several decades. Ultimately, this is the experiential hiring framework. So it just gives you a little bit of insight into what's in it for the businesses. Why do they participate in experiential hiring? Ultimately, they want to use these tools to analyze students and then integrate their ideas and their and then the talent themselves into their organization. So, there's really opportunities, and we've seen it before, where students from this program get internships either with the company, with a subsidiary or a partner company, or are able to leverage the insights and experience that they've gained in order to earn a position full-time somewhere because of how powerful these experiences are. This is, I think, if you're going to take away one thing besides information about the competition, I think it's this slide for academic leaders. There's a role, in the experiential bargain for academic institutions. And it really comes down to organization, facilitation, and accreditation of these experiences. The CAPSTOR system, our approach, is all about helping schools do this in a scalable way. How do we make sure that we're organizing the projects so that it's an academic experience, it's not unpaid internships, it's not taking advantage of students, but more designed to expose them, to train them, to get them ready for the real world. Facilitation, right? How do you deliver that learning experience? How do we ensure that the students are getting the best learning experience, that they're gonna actually pick up on the new skills that they're using, the new tools that they're using, incorporate that into their resume and the way that they showcase themselves. And then, of course, accreditation, right? How do we provide credit for the students moving through these? How do we scaffold these types of experiences into other academic programs and other academic coursework so that it together creates a byproduct, which is a highly professional, ready to work, graduate. This is the timeline that we're working on here for the upcoming competition. One thing I do want to note is that we understand that the competition could be burdensome for some schools. So we've actually in the past made virtual enrollment available. We, just like you can imagine, if you've ever participated in a virtual conference versus an in-person conference, it is drastically a different experience. But we are making virtual enrollment available. It's a slightly discounted rate. So just keep that in mind. If, at the end of the day, the logistics of getting your students to Memphis and then the stay in Memphis and the enrollment fee is too much for this semester coming up, at least there's a way for you to participate in this completely virtually. Every team that enrolls ultimately presents to the leadership team of the organization. Those leaders decide the winner of the competition. So we are here to facilitate an exchange of ideas and values and benefits from students that are eager to be working professionals and build their resume, and organizations that are chomping at the bit for new and insightful ideas. So basically, the early bird registration is the first of next year. So if you want that $100 off per student, please register before then. Otherwise, the registration goes up by $100. Originally, the company announcement was supposed to be February 1st, but because our industry partner is so well organized, we wanted to announce it a bit early. So hopefully that helps to garner some interest with your students. A lot of schools will recruit students or create a mini competition locally to kind of help select which students will be able to participate in the annual event. The actual experiences always launch virtually because we need to give the students time before the conference presentations to come up with their insights. So on March 4th, the students are going to have access to the entire experience on the CAPSTOR's platform. Every resource that's uploaded by the industry partner, including financial documents, marketing documents, strategy documents, everything that we can assemble that's going to help these students get up to speed. There's also a synchronous webinar for the launch, just like this, where we'll record the session and provide those recordings to the students so that they can reference them back and really learn more about the overall organization and the project so that they can do as great of a job as possible. In between the launch date and the final presentations, which again is the Wednesday in the IACBE conference in Memphis, we have a bunch of activities for the students to engage in synchronously while they're working on their projects and delivering those insights. So for example, Q&A webinars and office hours. These are excellent tools to get students kind of prepped for a business meeting with business leaders and prepare questions and engage in dialogue and present some iterative ideas, get some feedback, and really solidify their insights so that when they show up on site, that they're delivering to to mentors that they've been working with, that they have a relationship with, and that they're ultimately going to get some good feedback from. So the only other thing I'll mention, and we can get into this a bit later, is that beyond just the experience of presenting in person to the leadership team and getting feedback, we also have an award ceremony, and we have opportunities for students to develop professionally in other ways through cool Memphis tours, dinner experiences, panel discussions, and a bunch of other kind of leadership development experiences and networking experiences. So the in-person conference is certainly something we recommend if you can make it happen, because of those experiences, and really is something to give students a way to plug into a conference before they even graduate school. I know how many of us really only began that kind of professional journey after we've graduated from our programs. So it seems like someone might have accidentally replaced all the 3s with a 12. So I noticed it in a few different places. So obviously the entire score is out of 100 points, not 190. That would be a little bizarre. So 70 points are usually assigned to a 10-minute presentation with 10 minutes of Q&A. And then we have a memo that's worth 30 points. And that's typically due before the students arrive. So the organizations can begin to evaluate what they're planning to present. In years past, we used to do a big, lengthy report. These days, we actually have truncated the ask down to kind of what you'd expect from your team before a big presentation. Hey, give us the Spark Notes, the pre-read. What do we need to know about your presentation before you get started on the upcoming presentation? So I think here it gives students an opportunity to configure a really nice, meaty email. And then we also say, link as many resources as you want, right? You want to create resources. You can upload them to Google Drive or the CapSource platform or anywhere that you want to create and share assets that are going to help you prove your point. Ultimately, that's the same way that we all conduct emails back and forth with our collaborators. So the idea is to really give students, no one really actually produces big written reports like that for presentations. So at the end of the day, we really want the presentation and then a document that will really kind of highlight in short form all the insights that the students will be presenting.
Jordan, just briefly, because we had 2 questions come in about the number of students per team, minimum, maximum, and then also for the early bird, do you need the names of the students or just the totals?
For early bird, we need the total number of students, but the student enrollment of each individual student that's participating does not need to happen until the official launch date. So we will share the information usually about a week before it launches, so the students can get read up on the company and the project. So at any point in that week, we can start onboarding students. Your other question was size of team. That generally we cap it at 4, but minimum 2. So 2 to 4 students to participate.
Great. And then the slides are being shared after, correct?
Yes, we can share the slides as well.
Awesome. That covers them all.
Cool. I'll fix the 120 points in the version that's going to be distributed. So sorry about that, y'all. Okay, so without further ado, I love the drum roll, please. What an honor and a pleasure it is to work with probably one of the most innovative marketing agencies I've been connected to in my career so far. And we have seen quite a bit of unique ways of marketing and training and exposing organizations and leaders to new and unique marketing tactics. But the way that this organization approaches virality, frankly, is something that I've never seen before. And to create a playbook around it, to create an engaging dynamic with influencers is really something that I'm just so excited for students to get exposure to and to learn from and to contribute to, because really I think they've cracked a nut here, no joke, and they really have unlimited growth potential if they can continue to do this and continue to train influencers in a way that will really change the world. So ultimately, I would love to introduce, she goes by SB, our representative from Viralish, which is going to be our industry partner.
Hello, I'm SB. As Jordan mentioned, I'm really excited to be here and working with you guys. Vanessa mentioned that she was the catch-all at her company, and that's kind of what I do at Viralish as well. Our founder, Adley, started by making silly videos on the internet. One day she put chickens in her bathtub, real life chickens, and it was like a 6-second clip she posted to Facebook, and she woke up the next morning and it had like 40 million views or something crazy at the time. And from that moment on, she knew that she like wanted to be an entertainer online, and now she's started a very successful business doing so. I've been with the company since 2021 and have seen it grow crazily amounts since I've been there. So now we're originally just making videos from in-stream ads. Basically, if you're ever watching a video on your Facebook or TikTok and you see like a little pop-up or it stops to play an ad in the middle of the video, that's how we're getting paid from the platforms directly, as opposed to plenty of traditional influencers get paid from like brand deals and stuff. So that is how our bread and butter began and how we started. And now we've grown to not only be just Adley's pages, but we capture over 1 billion views per month across our entire team, which is more than the Super Bowl does once a year. So we're doing that monthly. And then across all of our channels, from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube, we have over 35 million followers across our channels, and we are producing and publishing over 100 original videos per week. So we are a fully functioning content house. There's video directors out back making videos all day, publishing videos, and yeah, so we're just making content, and these videos are anything from cooking videos to pranks to scripted dramas to like funny sketches. It really just depends. It's anything that we want it to be. So that is kind of like our company in a nutshell. But since then, we have expanded and we have a couple of different divisions now. So what I mentioned before, Viralish, that's end-to-end in-house content creation and distribution. So that's our bread and butter. That's just making the videos and putting them out there. We follow a formula that captures attention on the feeds, and so it has high watch time, and then the algorithm favors it, so it goes viral most times. Secondly, we have Viralish X. So since we are able to capture so many billions of views per month, we've started to work with big brands for seamlessly integrating their product into our viral communities. So as opposed to like, it's not necessarily when you see an influencer outwardly promoting a product, they're not saying like, here's my iPhone 15 and I really like it and you should buy it too. It's more so like, we're gonna put the iPhone 15 in one of our videos and it's just gonna become culturally relevant because it's getting millions of views. So that's Viralish X. And then also we just launched this month, which we're very excited about. We've been working on for 8 months, Viralish U, which is our education portion of our company, which is on online training and community space for people who want to do this as a job. So people who want to be in the creative space, they want to be video creators and they want to get paid to do so. We just launched our online course and are now promoting that. So you can see on the right here, this is kind of how our full flywheel functions. We train the creators to be highly functioning and get lots of views. They start making content. We integrate brands into that content. We distribute it across all of our channels. And then we're able to continue growing and adding new people and new brands to our flywheel. So these are just a couple of our own channels. A lot of these are Snapchat shows. If you're ever on Snapchat and you're on the Explore page, you can see that these are like publisher stories, and those are just another form of how we create content, distribute, and get paid. So feel free to check out any of these channels on Snapchat. Some of them are on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, but those are just some of our branded channels, as we call them. And then Viralish X, I mentioned that we work with brands pretty frequently. Here are just on the right some of the ones that we have worked with in the past. We've done quite a few things with Red Bull. We've had ongoing partnerships with Land Rover. So you can see these are pretty big name brands that we're working with and integrating into our viral communities. And then also, it's pretty cool when you go viral on a platform, but also when you get traditional media that starts to notice. I don't know if you guys have seen any of these videos, but there was a pretty big one that went viral of this woman breastfeeding a cat on a plane. Like I said, some of these videos are like a little out of pocket. Like, it's very wide range in the type of content we create. We just create things that are going to capture attention. And you can see Rolling Stone picked up a story, and it's actually, the article is very interesting about how we are making videos and how the internet is just eating it up. But we also have done staged publicity stunts, like with Caitlin Bristow from The Bachelor. We had her fall into the pool in the backyard. We worked with Lit, who sings My Own Worst Enemy, and they got on stage with a Nashville singer, and that one crushed as well and got some traditional press. And then the one in the middle you can see from Daily Mail was actually, that was a paid ad, an ad that we did that went organically viral. So we're able to help these brands go viral without paying for advertisements, like paid advertising. So it's pretty cool. It's a fun job. That's it for that one. And then here's a quick oversight on the training course I mentioned before. So like I said, this is going to be remote training for new creators. It's an online course, and we're also running a community group alongside with it, where we're dropping daily tips and tricks and teaching creators how to make viral videos. And then at the bottom there, you can see certification program. We want to, down the line, create a certification program that says, hey, I'm a Viralish certified creator. Like, I know how to capture attention, and I know how to make videos that are going to perform well for you. As opposed to a lot of UGC creators just doing like I said, a hold this product ad, where that's not really serving the brands. We want to be able to say, like, I'm Viralish certified, and I know how to create ads that are going to get views for these brands. So that's us in a nutshell. I know we're going to do a Q&A at the end, so I will stick around, and if anyone has any questions for me then, I'd be happy to answer them.
Wow, what an exciting featured partner. Thank you so much, SB, for helping us learn a bit more about your organization. I think the flywheel was so fascinating to look at, and very rarely, I think the classic one that's available online is Amazon's flywheel, and you could see how it really accelerates. And I think that you guys are really starting to put pieces together that will create that flywheel effect for the business. And ultimately, the key to the success of the project that we are not sharing today, but we are building, is it's going to be a relevant project to help this business grow. And obviously they have an incredible knack for virality, which is such a unique, typically unreplicable component of the day of digital media, social media. So to learn more about what triggers that, the behaviors, the type of content, obscure, unique, I think is going to teach students a lot about the world of marketing that they're going to learn a lot from. So I'm really eager to continue learning about you and your organization as we move through this competition together. And of course, getting a chance to meet in person in Memphis will be a great cherry on top of the cake. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Just to give you some insight for the listeners out there on types of competitions we've run in the past. So we had a very interesting one right during the midst of COVID with DoorDash, where students were challenged to come up with a meal plan of the future. So we really always break down projects into milestones. We give students guiding questions instead of prescriptive sets of goals for them to accomplish, mostly because there is no real only one approach to solving these problems, right? There's probably 1,000 different ways that students can come up with the meal plan of the future for DoorDash. One of the most successful competitions where many students were able to get hired from the experience was actually with a company called CoinSource. Actually, that was also during COVID, moved to a fully virtual conference. It was supposed to be in Dallas, where the company was based, and then ultimately we had to go for virtual. And even in a virtual environment, the company was able to hire 4 students from that competition and then 4 students from a follow-up competition based on the success of the experience that they had with the network of students. So There's definitely some real professional outcomes that come from these projects. You could see here just kind of a gist of what the projects have looked like. They're usually cross-functional. So you'll find that they include things like financial planning and marketing and strategy, sometimes product development, sometimes supply chain operations. So it really, I think the best way to assemble a team is to include students from various different parts of the school, business and non-business. I think everyone really is expected to work together in the working world. So giving them a chance to do that through this real world lens, I think is really exciting. I also added some of our more recent competitions as well. So last year we did Correct Craft, an incredible $1 billion organization based in Orlando, Florida, that produces the most prized and competitive wakeboard boats, freshwater boats. So we got a site tour of their facility in Orlando. It was specifically the brand Nautique, which is one of their subsidiaries. We got a chance to meet the CEO of the company. The students did an incredible job coming up with, basically a de-risked supply chain, which was something that was encouraged by their supply chain managers across their entire portfolio of organizations because of some of the hazards they experienced during COVID. The last one, so the year prior when we were in California, we did a competition with Donato's, probably a brand that many of you know. They have hundreds of locations. They're embedded into the Ruby Tuesdays menu, and the students got a chance to come up with a Gen Z brand strategy and awareness strategy. So it was really about trying to help them figure out how to kind of refresh their marketing. Their average customer was a 34-year-old single mother. And so the whole thing was like, how do we get this in front of the college audience? How do we get students and young professionals to kind of care for and align with Donato? So lots of different skills and tools that students need to use in order to overcome and develop real insights for these types of challenges. This is a quick kind of screenshot of one of the virtual presentations. So we create an environment where students are really able to drive results and present themselves professionally. This is an incredible team from Oregon Tech. This is the team. They all got job offers at CoinSource afterwards. So it was just a really amazing experience, especially in the midst of COVID when we're all just kind of looking for some good news. So I just remember that fondly and continue to actually keep in touch with several of the people on this screen, which has been an honor. So it's really an amazing network. I actually served as a reference for Tanner, and he worked for CapSource for some time as well. So really proud of this team and proud of the students that all go through this program. So I want to hone in this. I just wanted to put this timeline up again. Again, registration deadline really isn't until the competition starts. Early bird is encouraged just because we want the teams to start getting involved. Obviously can start looking into Viralish and learning all that you can about them so that when the official materials launch a week before the 4th generally, so that the students can be ready for that webinar so that they're up to speed. So I wanted to hone in on this component. So the in-person experience, really there's a lot that we can offer students beyond just physically presenting to the company. Wednesday, we really try to focus on just the competition. We don't want the students to be, too overwhelmed or over-programmed. So we'll typically start on Tuesday. There's a welcome reception. Students are encouraged to come to that if you can get them there on, time for that. Wednesday, have a chance to present, and then Thursday, the award ceremony and an offsite. So sessions, networking experiences, they get a chance to attend IACBE's conference sessions if they'd like. So lots of really fun ways to develop these students and give them a full conference experience and ultimately get them to take seriously the network that they're building professionally.
Jordan, we have one question in the chat from Donna asking, do you publish the award-winning PowerPoint and memo or provide examples of what a finished project should look like?
Yeah, actually, we can send that out in the recap email that will go out to the network. But there's a page on the CapSource website. We call it All-Star Students. It includes project submissions from students that have worked on projects as part of curriculum, and it's also includes a lot of the top presentations from IACBE competitions in the past. So we'll definitely include those to this presentation deck, the recording, a link to Viralish, and of course the All-Star Students landing page. So excited to do that for you. So this is just a brief look at some of the amazing network of schools that have participated. You'll find it's domestic U.S., it's international. It's small schools, it's large schools, it's state institutions, it's private. So there's really no limit. There's no right type of school to enter this. So at the end of the day, we want students to understand that they are working professionals competing with other working professionals for, you know, a chance to earn a job and a salary, right? That's ultimately the world that you're entering. So we want to give them the experience that they deserve, which is, you know, a chance to present to real organizational leaders. So I think this is the perfect time to transition to questions. So hopefully, if there are any others, would love to offer a chance for anyone to either drop it into the chat or feel free to activate your video and mic. If not, I have some canned questions for us. In fact, some of the ones that we've already addressed. So I don't expect too many, but we'll leave this up for a moment and see if there's any questions. Yeah, go ahead, Santiago.
So not a question, but a comment. Last year we sent a team. Unfortunately, given my competitive nature, we didn't win. But these were all seniors, and when they're about to graduate, we do a little exit survey to our students to hear about their 4-year experience. So we were asking about the experience throughout the 4 years in college. And I have to say, all the kids that participated in the competition mentioned the competition as the highlight of their entire college career, which in a way it was great, and I congratulate you. On the other way, as somebody that had been working with them for 4 years, it was kind of disheartening. But it was an amazing experience for them, and they'll remember it forever.
Wow, what an honor. Every once in a while, everyone needs a little bit of a pick-me-up as to why you do your job. And thank you, Santiago, for giving me fuel for probably the next 6 months. So thank you for that. Donna, go ahead.
So thank you. My school, Malloy University in New York, we are members of IACSB, but we have never done this competition. So I'm on to learn a little bit more about it. So my question is, in terms of the school or the professors that are working with the students, how is it managed at the university side? Do people offer a course where the students sign up and they work on this? Is this part of a club? Is it like an independent study project?
Believe it or not, we've seen every configuration. I think that's actually one of the most unique things about the freedom that is encouraged and rewarded by IACBE's framework for accreditation and experiential learning. So at the end of the day, I think a credit-bearing course is a great way to do it. The students take it even more seriously. They often perform very great. The key consideration is, what do you do with those students besides the competition, which obviously won't be launching until the March timeline. So one recommendation that we give is to run kind of a mini competition in the class. So for example, you might want to recruit 20 to 30 students for that class. We have ways to do project-based learning in the beginning of the semester, so we can help design a fully custom experience. We also have a case library, which you can use. They're all based on previously completed projects, including some of the projects that we mentioned today. The CoinSource one is up there as an open innovation challenge. So it's a great way you can run a simulated exercise, with those students. You can enroll more than one team as a school if you want. So there's really no limits on how many teams per school, except obviously, I understand the pricing is a factor. So those are some ideas for if you're going to go curricular. If you don't want to go curricular, that's fine too. So we've seen clubs. We've seen open enrollment. We've seen students kind of pay half their way, and then the school funds the other half. So it's very flexible. But I think going into it with intention to design an experience where students are doing project-based work, almost like a capstone, this could be a very interesting course structure, and I'd love to help you with it.
Thank you.
Dr. Simon, you're muted, but.
Yeah, sorry, Jordan and I think Vanessa. I think this question might, any one of you can answer it. It's concerning the cost. So when we pay that $550 or $650 to enroll a student in the competition, does that cover their conference registration also, or that is separate?
Yeah, it covers the IACBE conference registration for those students. It does not cover the faculty registration. So if the faculty intends to be a part of the conference, which it's not required, it's highly encouraged, then for sure you would need to register separately for the conference. And then it does not include airfare or accommodations. So the students are still responsible. A lot of times the hotel is a little bit more expensive than an Airbnb, for example. So sometimes schools will help get an Airbnb for their students that's nearby the conference venue, but definitely something to keep in mind.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Any other questions? I know these puppies are probably getting you dizzy, but figured it would be a nice way to maybe go viral. What do you think, SB? She upvoted me. Good.
You don't even know that I have grown up having pugs my entire life. So this GIF is giving me life because I'm obsessed with pugs.
Oh man, I love it. I was on the golf course yesterday and this couple had 4 matching head covers of puppies, and I was like, how can anybody focus with this? Annette Murphy, I see you've raised your hand.
Yes, thanks, Jordan. You mentioned the possibility of a virtual appearance for them because we're in the Cayman Islands, and my university did not think they did not have cash to send 2 persons to ACAM. So I'm sure they will not be sponsoring a team, even 2 students. So what would be the reduction in the cost if we're thinking of a virtual team or participating virtually?
So it's $250 off of the enrollment fee. So if you register early bird, it would be $550 minus $250. Regular registration $650 minus $250.
Okay. Thank you. And you did say completely virtual, right?
Yes, it's completely virtual. So SB, along with myself, my team, IACBE's team, any other schools that are participating in person will be at the hotel, the Peabody Hotel in Memphis for presentations. And then anyone who's presenting virtually, we have connectivity in the room. The students, just like this presentation, will present. They'll engage in Q&A with their judges. There are 2 presentations, so there's 2 panels of judges. There's 2 separate times the students present. It's about a 20-minute session each time. So that's what culminates their efforts. But also those Q&A webinars, office hours, that all happens virtually as well. So all of that will be virtual for them. And we've done it in the past. We've had Belhaven last year, fully virtual, a few other schools as well. So I know it's not the same experience, but it certainly is similar in the sense that the students get a chance to do this. And for what it's worth, this type of program, experiential learning programming, is very successful virtually as well as hybrid, as well as fully remote, fully in person. So there really is a lot of flexibility. The main thing is designing a project that's suitable within a work environment that accommodates for that virtual collaboration preference.
Okay, thanks. And let me commend you. I'm always looking for opportunities to provide experiential learning for my students, and I think this is a good way, so thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. And again, it's our life's work at our organization to just encourage more of this so that more students can have those Santiago style experiences. Because one thing I got an internship when I was a student. And I started working at KPMG, and that's when I realized, I was like, I think I chose the entire wrong field of study. And I was like, I had no idea, because I never got a chance to even see what it was like. So that's what kind of got me on the pathway to develop academic programs, with institutions that want to take seriously this kind of curiosity, this drive for professional development and networking and exploration of professional disciplines, which is just so hard to do from a textbook, like theoretical concept entirely. So that was a little bit about my experience. Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for sharing.
Of course. Any other questions coming to mind before we move on to the final bit? Maybe any other questions? I did just want to mention, so we talked about the average team size, 2 to 4 students, both undergrad and grad students, mixed teams. Like, there's really no need to have 2 different competition, styles when you have students of different levels. At the end of the day, the students are competing a lot for the same job pool. So we really want to just encourage participation across programs, so you are able to do that. Typically, it's mostly business students. We've seen students from across the institution in the past: computer science students, engineering students, students from economics disciplines, and arts and sciences. So it's not a business-only competition, but it is a organization that's a business posing a business challenge. So if students want to be prepared for that, they're a good fit. Again, I mentioned that the topics are typically related to marketing, finance, and growth. I actually repeated that question, so sorry about that. Faculty advisors, they're encouraged to attend and register for the IACBE conference, but they're not required. So if that is part of the prohibitive expense, we're absolutely willing to help manage that. CapSource is really honored to be a partner on this. We've learned so much from the IACBE network and the IACBE leadership over the last 7 years since we've been designing this competition with them. This is an example of project-based learning that we offer on our platform. It starts at $20 a student to get these experiences, so it's really not going to break the bank. It's a lot cheaper than the textbooks I had to buy that I never really opened. And then there's case studies on our platform, which are examples of previously completed projects that are designed to help train students and get them ready for real projects, real project-based experiences. And then we also have mentorship, which is a tool that allows for professional development through coaching and mentoring students. So a little bit of a quick overview on kind of where we come from and how we help schools. We've had the great pleasure, a lot of which have come through our relationship through IACBE, of working with hundreds of academic institutions, thousands of students, and thousands of industry organizations. Something we take a lot of pride in, a lot of variety, a lot of uniqueness when it comes to our portfolio of schools and industry organizations. I want to thank my co-hosts as well as SB, Sarah Beth, who has been incredible as a leader and a focal point for the competition for this year. We're really excited to learn more about Viralish. Vanessa and I meet every other week all year. We get a chance to share a lot of ideas and best practices, tools, things to think about, and I'm really honored to have her as a partner at IACBE. I wanted to mention that the IACBE or the CapSource registration link is available. So you'll first fill out this basic form, which helps us understand that you are interested. You'll be redirected to a payment page. You can pay right there. We can send you an invoice. It's very flexible. Feel free to reach out to me directly or schedule a time and we can talk one-on-one. This is the registration link. It's capsource.io/IACBE. I also did want to mention that the Memphis details have been published. Timeline, we have a keynote speaker, Dr. Tim Daisy, Education for an AI World. It's going to be super relevant, super engaging. The students are welcome to attend that session. There's excursions, including a riverboat tour. The call for proposals is open, so something to definitely take a look at. I believe the deadline is November 30th, so keep that in mind. There's another 12 right there. The best paper competition also is due in January, so if you're interested in that. And registration will open on December 1st for faculty who are interested in enrolling in the. In registering for the IACBE conference. Other than that, I want to thank my team. It wouldn't be possible without them. An incredible set of young leaders and old advisors that really have helped us navigate through many changes in the academic world, and continue to be persistent around making experiential learning possible, especially scalable. I can't stress that enough. One experience might change a student's perspective, but many experiences will change their world. I think it's just the more of these opportunities that we can give them to accelerate the way that they think, solve problems, just the more earning potential they have, and frankly, the more fond they are when push comes to shove and we ask them to donate back to the schools that train them. So I think getting back on I'm thinking what will make this program, our offering, the student experience most distinguished and valuable. I think that's what for me comes down to why we do this. And of course, this competition and the overall experience for students is not possible without the incredible team at IACBE. I've been through several different leadership of the IACBE organization, and it's an honor to be a part of the discussion, a part of the vision for what makes IACBE unique and powerful for its member organization. So if you're not a member and you're interested, I highly recommend learning more and inquiring. I really look forward to seeing all you guys at the amazing conference you have planning. So with that, we finished on time. And I want to thank everyone for being here. If you have questions, we'll include my email and scheduling link in the debrief share out. If you have interest in registering, you can feel free to do so or get in touch. And otherwise, we hope that you all have a wonderful rest of the fall semester. I know it's probably cooling off in most places, so enjoy that. And we'll see you in Memphis, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.